everyone. Welcome to what I affectionately call season 2, episode 8. It means I have 2 more left for this year. I stopped that I shut it down in October and hang out. So thanks for those that are coming, those that will be coming, and those that watch us on the replay. Um, Tonight I've got a very, very special guest with me. I've had him backstage drinking Rippets and Scooby Doo reruns on repeat to get them all riled up. So, without further ado, the man who needs no introduction.
No Scooby Doo. None.
I know. No. I was trying to torture you.
No Scooby Doo. What's up, dude?
Yeah. Hey, Chad. How's it going, man?
Stellar. How you doing?
That's great. Yeah, I was glad to get to meet you in person. And God, that was back in March.
May.
Oh my gosh, things are going.
I believe it was May.
Yeah. No, it was great. Like I said, that was the first convention I've been to in like 15 years.
What'd you think of it? If that's the first con you've been to in 15 years, what were your thoughts?
So my thoughts. I liked the setup. It was really good. Our favorite thing, my wife and my favorite thing was just sitting there in the lobby with and getting to meet folks. A lot of folks I've seen online, I've been following.
Yeah.
Like you and Jeff, that was great. And then Mikey Kukovic, but his dad John, who I've had on before. My wife really liked getting to. She talked to Mama Kukovic and being able to go and meet the guys that built my childhood was really cool. That was like Ron Rudat was one of my, because I'm a big Leatherneck fan, and and my wife was sitting there. I think his wife enjoyed it because my wife's there because everybody's there to meet him, so she's having to run him, and especially you can tell he's getting up there, so that's a full-time job.
Yeah.
But, just being able to talk to my wife, and they like to exchange email addresses and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, she is. Her name's Jenny Rudat. She is. She's a wonderful woman. She's always awesome. She always remembers you. She's just genuine.
Yeah,
she's super awesome.
And what the surprise one was meeting Douglas Hart.
Yeah, Doug Hart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not because we were sitting there, and I think they just got back from breakfast with John and Kukovic and his wife, and the other guy, I can't remember what his name is, from Longbow.
Troy.
Troy. And so we're just sitting there, and we just started talking, and he was talking about, hey, I started talking about, showed like one of the packages for one of the 12-inch figures. It was like the Coast Guard security guard or something like that. And I said, or the airports. I was like, no, I had that because I like in the late 90s, I was really heavy into the 1/6 scale stuff. And he's like, oh, I didn't think anybody would remember that. And we sat there and talked for hours, and I went and had him sign some artwork for me. And also the big thing for me was getting Ron Wagner to sign my copy of Nth Man #1.
Yeah, I remember you were saying that.
Yeah, and he was so cool about that. I was like, how much, what would it cost to give me the signs? And I handed it to him and said, no, I'll sign this for free. So then I bought like a hit and run sketch that he did.
Yeah,
that was real nice from him. But I like that because I had, the last convention I went to, I had Larry Hama sign Nth Man 1. And he was surprised that anybody even remembered that book. So like I didn't even go to Hama's table, because I met him twice. I've already got my signatures. I don't need the
right.
But just going there to one, I got right first day of it. But it was good. I think there's a lot of good vendors there. All the 3D printed stuff was amazing. I met that one guy that was out. He had a table out in the hallway that was selling those 3D prints of 1/12 scale, like the shark and the Skyhawk.
Yeah. That guy was cool.
I mean, they weren't like the greatest prints because he was like, I'm knocking these out overnight. And he says, I'm just here. I'm just printing these out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I bought his
so,
howl. I bought his howl because
yeah,
I said, look, man, your craftsmanship's awesome. He's like, look,
yeah,
I do this as a hobby and I use the
yeah,
money that I make and I go inside the con and I spend my money. And I'm like,
yeah,
dude, that's awesome. If nobody buys that howl from you, I'll come back and buy it.
yeah,
And I bought it and gave it away.
yeah. And, you know, and I'm a mark for the Skyhawk. Like, you know, I've got the Skyhawks back there, every version of it.
Yeah.
And so I wanted one in the classified scale. And like I said, it's for $50. You know, it suits my needs perfectly for it. And I had a problem is that I didn't plan on buying as much as I did there because I went there with an idea of mine, and my wife allowed me. You know, she's my accountant, and she said, no, you can buy a few other things. So I bought a few other things, so trying to get it back. Well, so I had it like in a backpack wrapped up and stuff, trying to keep it so that way it was being my carry-on for the flight. Yeah. And I got almost all the way home, and I had the backpack on, and I went to the restroom, and I flexed my shoulders, and I heard a snap. And I was like, oh, no. But it was only one of the missiles snapped on it.
It's the dreaded sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if it would have been like the landing gear, I'd have been like, oh, it's like a real Skyhawk, broken landing gear. But
yeah.
But no, it was yeah, it was real good. We had a lot of fun. We're hopefully we can try to go again.
Kirk Bazigian will be back next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The meet and greet that you did was great. Getting to talk to some of those guys.
That wasn't me. I didn't do that.
Well, not the meet and greet, but the swap.
Yeah, the swap is always awesome, dude. Yeah.
Having a lot of those guys come in there was really cool. So.
Well, we'll see if IshCon decides to park on DFW's date again next year, which whatever. So it is what it is.
Yeah. But like I said, it reminded me a lot of the old. I've been to a couple of the G.I. Joe Collectors Club conventions when they had them in Orlando when I lived down there. It reminded me a lot of that. Kind of had that feel.
Yeah.
Feel to it.
Yeah, that's what I really like about DFW. It's way more about the Joe than the bros, if you know what I mean. Like, and I'm not trying to compare things because I think that every con is its own thing, but yeah, DFW is definitely more about like the history of G.I. Joe and celebrating that and keeping it alive.
Yeah. I mean, but it was nice. But like I said, the biggest part was just, I guess because it's like I'm older now, and it was good not to have the kids because the last one we went to, my kids were little. So you're having to manage that, that nonsense. But just being able to sit there and, I think we probably spent the bulk of it there in the lobby, sitting there talking with everybody. So,
yeah, it's just a really chill atmosphere.
Yeah,
just to hang out in the lobby. But next year it'll be at a new venue and everything's on the same floor. You don't have to like take the stairs down and do all that stuff. But
yeah,
I don't know if you saw.
Yeah, that weird like split level place. So.
Yeah, well, it was still better than the previous venue. I mean, that's the deal with fighting positions, right? You establish it and then you build on it, build on it. And, DFW, that con's been around for a long time, and it's nice to see them growing as much as they've been growing. Like, they outgrew the convention center in Grapevine, then they outgrew that other venue, and now we're moving to another one. So I don't know why I say we, but oh, hey, speaking of which, did you see that Greg sent me the banner with the sponsors banner with my logo on it?
Oh no.
Yeah, he sent it to me in the mail. I forgot to get it from him when we were leaving. So did you see Ken the band said I nominate #Cannonball as Head Cannon's new hashtag line? There you go.
Yeah. It's just trying to make it stick. Like I said, I'm not hashtag level yet, Ken. I'm a small potato. I think I picked up one sub today, so it's all.
One's better than none, dude.
Yeah. So
and none's better than losing 1,100.
Yeah. Well, but you had to lose. It's like gambling. So, but it's I only have 192 subs. So, but but the thing is, like I said, it's, my whole purpose for doing this, like I tell folks before, is that, I'm in the chat and I say pithy things. I think my chat game's pretty good,
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
sometimes nothing beats sitting down and actually having conversations with folks.
Agreed.
And I kind of really did this so I could, have a way to have conversations with folks in this internet age that I want to have conversations with. And I tell folks all the time, if I think it's interesting, I'll talk to anybody. I don't care. They don't have to line up with me, or buy the things I buy.
Right.
I just talk to people because it's interesting to talk to
Yeah.
people, and you're definitely one of those. And plus, I always tell you, like, when I decided to do this, you were the first person I reached out to, and you graciously did it, and I'm always going to be thankful for that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Absolutely.
yeah,
That's what we're all here for, right?
Yeah.
Or should be here for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. We live in a world where people, just think, conversations should be one-sided. They don't want. They just want to shut you down for.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that if it's just one-sided, I mean that's why the term echo chamber exists, right? That's not a conversation,
Yeah.
not even a little. So
Yeah. So, and I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here, but you said something a few weeks ago that really, I can't remember what the context was, but talking about how we're kind of like stewards of these things,
yeah,
which really, I kind of, because I've started to gravitate more to, I collect 112 and I collect a few things, but I've really started gravitating to getting, like buying, like, behind me, this stuff like from, off of Macari or at the local stores.
is that a Thunderwing?
Yeah. Yeah. That
Such an underrated, awesome aircraft.
that is probably my favorite jet out of all the jets.
It's awesome,
everybody's all Sky Striker, but the Thunderwing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad they never got to the point where they, because they did the Sky Striker, which is based off the F-14.
I'm gonna do that.
Then,
I'm gonna back up a little.
Yeah. Then eventually, they did the F-16, the Ghost Striker.
Yep.
And then the F, that's the Storm Eagle is the copy of the F-23.
YF-23.
That didn't get made, and that's the F-22
Mm-hmm.
that they never did, like an F-35 equivalent.
No.
So, like I said, but I've really gotten into, like I said, getting conquest and doing, and it's getting harder to find parts for them. But the retro stuff is still fairly inexpensive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To get.
You live in an upside down world when you can get stuff from 40 years ago easier than you can get stuff that like somebody in like the Far East is making in a sweatshop right now.
Yeah.
And it's intentional, and I don't freaking get it, man. I really don't.
And it's also, like I said, for every conquest I wind up having to to do, like one of the ones back there is I did a navalized version of the conquest.
Nice.
Because as I've gotten, because when I was in Marine Corps aviation.
Yep.
So back then it's like you would see the flag, them on the Sky Striker made sense for the flag because it was based on the F-14, which is a carrier based.
Yeah.
The Conquest would have never worked on an aircraft carrier in real life because it was the landing gear alone would snap if you tried to land on it.
Yeah.
So so I found a pretty beat up Conquest, slowly gathered all the parts to complete it, and I repainted it like a dolphin gray, so it's all even. And then the Toy Hacks does a lot of the reproduction stuff.
Yeah, I get almost all my repro stickers from Toy Hacks.
Yeah, and they had a naval version of the of it in that subdued gray when they had like the USS flag.
Yep.
Thing that all aircraft carrier base planes have. and then I found a couple other things and added up, and I put that thing together. So that was like my first custom I did. And
did you see the Toy Hacks Sky Striker Top Gun stickers?
Yeah.
With all their like Mavericks tail art and all that stuff. It's such a great set.
Yeah. And with the Conquest, what I try to do the same thing with the Scouts is I try to get at least one of every version that they did.
Yep.
Of it. Now, trying to go down that rabbit hole with Sky Strikers is
no, because then you get stuck on the Night Boomer, and that's $1,000.
Yeah, and then they did the Sky Patrol one for the convention that year, one year or two.
Yep.
And that's, you can't find that at all. I wish they would have done that. One of the cool things about DFW was I went to the panel where they talked about the sub teams and coming up for that, and they showed the Tiger Force F-14 Tomcat Sky Striker they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, I wish they would have.
Well, actually, head canon, it's the XPF 14. Thank you.
Yeah,
actually,
which is incorrect for the aircraft of that period, because the P was the old patrol designation for it, and not the F.
Well, you know how it is with Joe; they got to slap the X on it, right? Because it's all experimental,
Well, the X is fine. It's just the P that bothered me, because
right.
That was a World War II designation, not the. But I know they were trying to avoid old Northrop Grumman from coming after them for
Yep.
infringing walk that line. And a lot of people don't know, like the X-30 was based on a real aircraft.
Yes, absolutely.
The X-29 experimental one. So, so it's been a lot of fun, but but it's getting, like I said, it's getting harder to source parts. It takes me about 3 Conquest bodies if I can't find the parts individually to finish one out. Now, and now I'm having to get at DFW. I found a guy that had 3D printed some canards for the X-30 that I'm going to have.
Yeah, that's what Ken the band was saying, is the canards are always expensive.
Yeah. So you're about to say something before I interrupted you?
Oh, I was going to say a lot of stuff in G.I. Joe has real world equivalents. That's all I was going to say. Right.
Yeah.
The Mobats, the M70, the Thunderclap, like we were talking about earlier on my stream, is based on the Atomic Annie, the Atomic Cannon.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. Not the general and things like that, but for the most part.
Yeah.
The Hammer's just a frickin' souped up 1151 Alpha one.
Yeah. I think that came out the year I went into the military. Was nice. Like 1990 or something like that. So,
very nice.
But it's just fun. But I kind of like I feel like I'm trying to preserve some of that every time I can complete one, and I put repo stickers on it because it looks better. I found a good way to get the glue off of that old thing. And it's just,
how do you do it?
So we have a guy at a local toy store that I go to, and I came in one day, and he was cleaning off sticker residue off. So I'm like, how do you get that stuff off? And he showed me he uses Pond's cold cream, the makeup remover stuff. And he says, you just take this in a soft brush and scrub it down and wipe it down, and it works. And I got the so when I got one of the Barracudas, I actually bought a couple of them so I could get the single tone hole on it. I tried it and it came right off, because I think I got it for like $6.
Nice.
So if I ruin this, then it's not going to be okay. So I started cleaning up everything with it. It's not harsh. It doesn't warp the plastic or burn it.
So I'm a huge fan of, there's very many ways, there's very rarely the way. Some people say lighter fluid, some people say rubbing alcohol, this and that. You use the Pond's cream method.
Yeah.
I use Goo Gone. And I just get Goo Gone from like Walmart or Target or whatever. I get the spray one. I put a little bit on a Q-tip, and it just takes it right off. and then I lick the other side of the Q-tip, and I clean off the residue.
Okay.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. It's quick. Yeah, and I've been doing that for years and years. So, and the only real drawback, we've all got these toys. They've got all this history and character, and some of them were sitting in attics or hot garages or things like that. You take the sticker off, and you can see the discoloration where the sticker was. It doesn't matter what you use on it at that point. We're not getting into like retro bright and all that stuff, like restoring, but like you're going to put another replacement sticker over that anyway. So it's not truly the end of the world. But yeah, I use Goo Gone. I just tweezers, Goo Gone on a Q-tip, gone, done.
And if it's, I have a few things that if it's too bad, then and usually that comes where it's like the plastic underneath is still the original shade it was when it was made in the outside.
Yep.
Is then I'll go, okay, that's going to be a custom, and I'll set it aside and I'll paint. That one I'll sacrifice to the paint.
Right.
So what's Ken saying? I have an idea about making some custom ones. I found a tree, and I can fudge the blades as cheap replacements. What are you making?
He's talking about
What are you
canards.
trying to make, Ken? Oh, the canards.
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about.
But like I said, I found those. There's a guy. He had a set of black, and he had a set printed in red. And I bought the red ones, I was like, well, I can paint this, but then it gave me an idea for another X30 custom. So I got
nice.
It's just been too hot to paint out here.
Oh yeah,
too humid.
I took 3 Storm Eagles and I turned them into the original 3 G1 Seekers.
Oh.
I made updated versions of the Seekers. I did some greebling and I put extra little bits and bops on them and all that stuff, but I toy hack stickers and I painted everything the way that they should be, gold canopies, the whole 9 yards, and I made Seekers out of them. Yeah, that
would be cool. And the Storm Eagles are not that hard to find out there. It's the Liquidator that seems to be the hardest one to find, even though they use the same landing gear and missiles. It was
the paper stickers on both of those aircraft, when they have water features, to find one with stickers in good condition, that's very hard, because again, like the water feature, you're filling it up, you're shooting it, like the stickers are going to get jacked. So that's a challenge. 2, the thing I love about the Liquidator is that it ties all the way back to the very beginning of the mass device, where Major Blood attacks the Sky Strikers in those Saab aircraft.
Yeah.
And they did that intentionally. And I think that's freaking awesome.
Yeah. And that's why, a lot of people don't, there's like so much cool stuff, aircraft wise back in the Cold War, because like I said, they were, they were just, they weren't waiting for an airframe to get old before they replaced it. They were cranking them out. The next, it was the Century program is what they called it. It was the F100 to F109. And the idea was that we're going to produce these, and when something new comes along, then we'll just switch to the next model. Production instead of waiting for something new to come on first before we build aircraft.
Yeah.
That's why our aircraft nowadays cost $50 billion to.
The military industrial complex has always been, a crazy and just fascinating machine. So nowadays, since the aughts, it's I don't want to say it's corrupt, but it's pretty corrupt.
Yeah.
So just the number of uniforms they would, we went from woodland camo BDUs to like that weird gravel digital ACU, and then we just kept switching uniforms. It's like, can we just fight wars?
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Well, the most egregious thing that happened when I was in, because we're also using the woodlands, is we switched from V-neck skivvy shirts to crew necks, and then there was like some rumor that some former commandant had a buddy over at some t-shirt. Conglomerate.
That's always how it was. Like there would be like backroom handshake deals, and then the next thing you know, you got this new uniform or piece of equipment or whatever, and it's like, bro.
God forbid you wore a V-neck.
Yeah. Ken the Band said Hasbro could release Real American Hero jets as repainted Transformers and they would sell. I mean, they kind of did that with the San Diego Comic-Con stuff with the Starscream and the Jetfire and then all the hisses and the vamp. And I mean, it was the modern versions, but yeah, I mean, they did that.
Yeah. Well, and also too, like if you itching for it, like I said, Toy Hacks has a lot of that, you know, the Starscream and the Jetfire.
I have a massive manila envelope just full of stickers. You know, I'll buy 3 repro sheets, you know, separate sheets just to do one custom vehicle. And I greeble it. So I cut out this piece of this sticker and this, that, yeah, all that stuff. I would love to see, you know, if Hasbro really wants to wow people with that freaking Hasbro 375, you know, made to order, whatever, HasLab, whatever the frick they want to call it, do an F-15.
Yeah.
Like do an F-15, do a Joe one, or, you know, even start it off with the Seekers, do the 3 Seekers, and then down the line do a Joe one, or do a Joe one, and then later on do a Starscream and blah, blah, blah. But the fact that they did a Starscream recolor of the Sky Striker, it never sat well with me. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. It's lazy. The Jetfire, I'm all about it. But
yeah, you know, and those, so those are all. Well, it fits better with Jetfire because the G1 toy was the Macross VF1, which was the F-14. With rocket pods on it.
Well, not only that, but they also did mold the little capture part and put Leader 1. Yes, dude. Yes.
He was an F-15, wasn't he? Leader 1.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
Yeah, they've got they've absorbed so many properties over the years that it's not like they don't have a lack of any ideas they can copy if that's what they want to do. It's like they pick 5 things and keep going to the well on it.
Yeah, it's the complete risk aversion. I mean, that's all it is. And then when you've got guys like Kirk Bazigian, even screaming like, why do you keep doing an F-14? Like do something new, do something different. They can't do it. It's like forest for the trees.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. In my perfect world, Kirk would run Hasbro.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, there's a lot of. I wish I'm still kicking myself that back when Toys R Us was going on in the late '90s and early aughts, they were getting that World Peacekeepers line, and they got like the F-18.
Yep. Jet. I've got one in the box.
Because that was my plane. That was the plane I did most of the stuff on.
Yeah. And I have a boxed one. Yeah, and a loose one, and the loose one is Mavericks from Top Gun 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever get rid of the box one, reach out to me first. It's
Destro, what's up, man?
Yeah, all Destro Designs. How's it going, man?
Yeah, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, one or the other at DFW, Greg had from Cotswold Collectibles, he had a bunch of those World Peacekeeper F-18s, FA-18 Super Hornet, actually.
Yeah.
And the Sukhoi 27.
Yeah, so, they did that one, and they did the Chinese J-10.
I didn't see that one, so I can't comment on it. But I never even took the Sukhoi out of the bubble wrap. It's still sitting in the cabinet. Again, right, we had the discussion last Sunday about hoarding. So
yeah. And I wish when they put it up on their website now, I would have they did that the Leonard, the kind of it was kind of like a World War II jet age mashup planes.
It's not coming to mind. I know they have the Beast Bomber. It's just not popping into my head.
Yeah, it's like more of a recent thing they did. and I didn't get one of those because I was like, it's like, okay, that's cool. Kind of like the mashup thing.
Gotcha.
They were doing.
Right.
But I love the aircraft. I'm working on right now. I got a big piece of foam board that I'm working on painting it to do like a deck of they used to be called LHAs, the helicopter landing assault amphibious platforms.
Yep.
Because that's one of the things that I see flags all the time. I've decided I never want one.
What? Why? Come on.
Well, because it's for such a big thing, it's still terribly undersized. But what I do want is I just want the tower section from one, because I figured out how many
the conning tower
foam board I would have to make to create the deck for that, because so I can put my Eagle Hawk helicopter and the Ghost Hawk 2 and again, another underrated one you can't see this, that the night attack chopper they did for
I have that one in the
Valor versus
Crimson copter.
So because I'd like to do a helo carrier deck thing, because I think that would scale. It'd still be under scale, but I think it would scale better. So I'm practicing on like getting the texture I want on it, the color for the deck. And I'm going to start painting the preliminary deck markings for it, because to me that was, and again, that's one of these things that I like stories, which is why I call myself headcanon. It's like I put, I think of, if I was doing this, and to me, like I said, as I got older and went into the military, I began to realize that something like that would have made a lot more sense for G.I. Joe than an aircraft carrier, a full aircraft carrier. So.
Look, them doing a 7-foot 4-inch toy was just like, that was a Giga Chad level flex. I mean, that's really what it was, and it will never be defeated as the largest toy ever made. Never. Do you remember those plastic mats for like Matchbox cars and stuff, and they had like the roads on them and all that? Really, that's what a flag is. If you think about it, if you ever walk in my Joe room, there's just a bunch of aircraft on the deck, and it's like, yep, there it is. You got to walk around it. So,
well, every once in a while I see on Amazon, it's like playmat carpets, like a runner, and it's set out like an aircraft landing thing. And I'm like, man, I want to get, but all I can find are the ones that have the airplane printed on it. Like, I don't want that. I want to roll it out on my 8-foot table over here and take my Joe airplanes and park them on the runway.
So just cut that shit out, man. Just cut it out.
Well, it's in the middle of it.
I know. I'm just kidding.
It's like,
I know.
It's like frustrating me. To no end. So you didn't put the flag on a raft in the pool.
No, that's reserved for Scuba Pete.
Yes.
Talk about flexing.
Well, one of my favorite toys I got when I was a kid was the APC. And it's because you lived here in North Florida, we went to the beach a lot as a kid. And I could take, I would leave all my Joe's guns and backpacks at home. Because I was going to
just take the APC.
Put them in the APC and roll that thing on.
Trying to get Callie to come over here. She don't want to.
Aw, poor Callie.
She's right there. Yeah, there's a couch behind me. It's usually got these two numbskulls on it, but
well, they're great. I work. One of our partner organizations here in town is an organization that does canines for. They adopt dogs and they train them how to be service dogs for veterans.
Give me 2 seconds. I got to say bye to. Yeah, hold on.
Oh, absolutely. So while we're waiting for Chad to come back, everybody's saying hi in the chat. I do thank you guys for being here. Those are here in the chat as well. If you have any questions.
Are you peeing?
I'm filling my Sky Patrol mug.
You're peeing? Yeah, I come back and you're just pissing all over the floor. Hi.
It's my
I'm
office. I
back.
can do that.
Yeah,
This is something too I didn't know existed until I guess this was the 2016 convention, and I found it on Mercari for like it cost me more to ship it than what I paid for it.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing.
Was,
Yeah, the APC is great. You know, gotta show some love to what Palatoy did with it to make the ATC. So
yeah,
I think that that's something that Hasbro could have redone. Was just, you know, do like their own version of the ATC. So
yeah. I saw somebody the other day had modded one where they replaced the the turret on the top with like a one for where it's like somebody sits in it with a machine gun.
Of the APC or the ATC?
The APC.
Yeah.
They took an old APC and it was like they took, I guess it was the turret from the Moray actually will fit in that slot, they said. And that's what
Did you see the one that I gave away at DFW?
Yeah.
At the swap? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was like a Crows 2 kind of a turret. And I painted the whole canopy all doo-doo brown and G'd it up. Yeah. That one was fun.
What was the one that Kid won? It was the Night Force. No.
That wasn't the Kid. The Kid won, which sucked, right? Internally, I was thinking the Kid should have got the one that the adult got because it was way more toyetic. The Kid won my custom Mamba hiss with I made custom driver and gunner and everything, and it had a quad missile launcher, and it was all the same colorways as the Mamba. The guy won my custom Night Force Brawler. That's what because it already had the orange parts, and I repainted the whole thing, black and gray, and I had the orange glow in the dark Night Force stickers on it. Yeah, that thing's awesome. And when I showed him how the missiles actually shoot, the guy was like over the moon about it. And the whole time I'm like, man, the freaking Kid should have got this, but
no, but I was
it is what it is. I don't control it, so
yeah. My oldest son, he's a Transformers fan, but he really likes the hiss, and so
it's so unique. You can't deny it.
Yeah, so he's been like getting the it was the and I tell you one of my favorite hiss is the Pursuit of Cobra one.
Oh yeah. Yep. That was a awesome and radical redesign that they did.
Yeah. And then I was able to find him the Scout that clicks into the back of it. That was cool.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of the DTC hiss, the direct to consumer one, the 2005. I know a lot of people kind of but it's my favorite.
Yeah. I was and that was the thing about, again, Hasbro, not to complain about them, when they did the retro, line using,
50th anniversary.
50th anniversary figures.
Yeah.
But what ticked me off was when they did the Fang. I was excited about that because I like the Fang.
And then they made it all stubby and dumb.
It was the Chat May mold that when I started looking, I was like, this is the Chat May version of it. It's like, So I was able to eventually get,
This is one of those things, just like the Hasbro 375. They're good initiative, bad judgment, right? Like they come out of the gate like just utter dog smears. That retro line 1 should have never been called a retro line, because as soon as everyone heard that, they heard O-rings. Because of the Star Wars retro was a freaking Kenner style 5 POA. So they should have never done that. Secondly, you come out of the gate with some 50th figures, whatever, that's fine. But that Snake Eyes that you used was from the Snake Eyes and, Storm Shadow in the long sleeves, which the first time you see Storm Shadow in issue 21, Silent Interlude, he has long sleeves until they fight, which I think a lot of people, a lot of Joe fans are either short-sighted or they're not very well versed, which whatever, I'm not going to get into that. That Snake Eyes had both heads, the version 1 and the version 2 visor head, and they put the visor head on him and they put him on a version 1 card. But that's that whole too big to fail, like screw it, they'll buy it no matter what attitude that Hasbro is just known for. If they wanted that line to succeed, you take all the stuff that was like your FSS and your Joe-Con, like your exclusives, Dial Tone, Big Lob, Cover Girl, on and on. Footloose. Do you know how much a Footloose costs? I mean, people who don't know the modern Joes, they're like, oh yeah, Footloose. No.
Yeah.
That's hundreds of dollars for a Footloose. Law and Order, things like that. Those are the figures that, sure, everybody's got to do the greatest hits because pencil pushers, right? Yeah. But that's when you start coming out with those figures that nobody could get, in the teens. Yeah. And I think that line would have done well, but they made it a Walmart exclusive. It was really hard to find. It was like 4 figures and then 2 figures and then 2 figures. And they made Scarlet a chase, whatever. And then they're like, well, it didn't really sell. Okay.
Yeah.
Same thing with their O-rings. The O-ring 2-packs, they're way overpriced. Where are you going to get them? And then they're like, whoa, they don't sell.
Did it for the Transformers crossovers? They did O-ring figures for that, or was it
O-ring
the 25th style bodies?
Do you not have any?
Well, my son, he's got the Megatron. I think he's got all of them. The Bumblebee, the Megatron.
Stare at my dog for a second.
Cup. Hello, puppy to you on the couch.
See, that's what they do. Look at it, just chilling. I had to get this out from between my monitors. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That's the Sarge that came with the cup.
Yeah. So my son has them, but I've never really looked at them because he was more.
Some of them are pretty freaking good, dude.
Yeah. Well, he showed me that Sergeant Cup, and I was like, man, this is. And I even liked the Bumblebee, how he did the All-Striker mode.
Did you? Now, and see, that's the thing. They have to interact with these.
Yeah.
Whatever they look like in bot mode. Yeah, that Sarge figure is good, man. Whatever they look like in bot mode, Bumblebee, it's like he's got some yellow pops here. The head looks just like Bumblebee, and they're like, there you go. Because the whole point of it is, as long as it transforms into that vehicle, you're freaking good. I mean, Bumblebee in bot mode, he's got the weird Forrest Gump leg braces with the roll cage, and the Mega Hiss had the shopping cart backpack for the Baroness. Yeah. But when it's in Hiss mode, lined up with my other 60 whatever Hisses, the only way you can tell are the 2 streaks of gray down the front and the armament on the roof. Other than that, it's perfect. The dimensions are dead on.
Yeah, no, but that was my friend when they first announced it, that they would make the compromise in the vehicle mode when it should be in the bot mode is where the compromises are made. And I think they did a good job of it.
Yeah.
But, and honestly, that was catering more to G.I. Joe fans and Transformer fans, with it.
But people loved them.
Yeah.
And then as soon as again, just like Cup and Triple T, I was talking about Mobat Prime for a while and was like, you're crazy. That's not going to happen. He should be an APC or a Rolling Thunder. And I'm like, should and are 2 different things. Like, it was Mobat Prime. As soon as that sucker got a product number, gone.
Yeah.
They just killed it.
Oh, it was
that sound wave, that thunder wave that Ken the Band is talking about. That thing is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love that sound wave. He's bigger than my that masterpiece sound wave. He's bigger than the masterpiece sound wave. He's freaking awesome.
back when Devil's Due had the G.I. Joe comic license, and they relaunched, and they did the I can't remember who had the Transformer license, but he did the Transformers G.I. Joe crossover. You know, G.I. Joe versus Transformers. But that's what, you know, unlike the first one with Marvel, they leaned into that where it was, you know, I think Cobra broke into the Ark and found all, and they were, so Optimus Prime was like a hiss.
But I have images of a few of those covers. I'm looking.
But I always like the Starscream as the Night Raven, with Cobra Commander's personal
his personal transport, and that's why
when gun mode.
Yeah, when the news it wasn't a rumor, right? It was planned. When it was leaked that they were going to do a Titan size, right? Because Titan Transformers, you have the named Titans, but then it also refers to the size of the Transformer relative to whatever it exists in. They were going to do a Titan-sized Transformer Joe collab, and it was supposed to be Jetfire.
Okay.
Other people had said it would be cool if it was the Devil's Due Starscream Night Raven. I was like, you know, I could see that too.
Scale well with the 4-inch or 3 3/4 4-inch figures, whereas the Titans are, I mean, they're big robots, but in big vehicles, but they don't scale with the other ones.
Exactly, and that's why when you look at the Sky Striker with a Joe, I mean, imagine transforming that sucker into frickin' Jetfire. And again, they've already got all the plans of how to do it because Macross, right? So
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do, like I said, but it's a, you know, like I said, it's been, gosh, I'll be 54 this year, and I still love G.I. Joe. It's the, you know, it was, you know, looking back, like I said, I got the first 3 volumes of the, you know, the omnibuses. I've been reading through those, and you know, and I noticed the silliness a little bit more now, and things that they got wrong, like you don't land the Defiant on the flag, you know, and things like that. But then
you do. Yeah, you do.
But when I was a kid, I mean, it was great, and that's why I think it's also. I said this before, that there seems to be like a dividing line, that if you were 10 years old or younger when G.I. Joe came out, you're probably more of a comic fan. If you're born, or I mean, if you're 10 years old or older, you're more of a comic fan, and lower it's the cartoon. Right. And that's who's kind of running things now, are the cartoon generation. That's why they kind of lean into, you know, some
Cold
of those
Slither.
things.
Cold Slither.
Well, it's like, so I discovered we have the, you know, Hasbro has that over-the-air channel now.
Yep.
You know, on regular broadcast. So I found it, so I'm like watching it, and I was like, the first
Where
time I put it on, it's a network called Heartland, and it's kind of like, you know, when you go to your TV and use a digital antenna to get like the local channels, it's like one of those sub channels. So you got to look to see, one, if it's in your area, and which sub channels it is. But it's
can't you really just go to their YouTube channel and watch all that stuff?
Well, I put it on for noise in the background.
Gotcha.
So, and it's kind of like, so I don't control it, so whatever's on is on. And I was getting so mad the other day because it was an episode with Leatherneck, which I'm like, hey, cool. But it was this whole story about him, like a Cobra military academy, kidnapped him.
Yeah,
trying to thwart him going to Paris Island. And I'm like,
he was on his way back to Paris Island for something, and they snatched him. Yeah.
This isn't what Paris Island is like at all.
Yeah.
Then my God, I watched an episode of Jim came on. It's the first time I ever watched it. And that's
hey, we don't talk about Jim.
80 stand. What's my channel? I'll talk about it if I want to.
Thank you. I was waiting for something.
You're in my house, man. You're in my house.
Oh.
And I was like, even for like 80 standards,
just stare at my dog some more.
Yeah. Yeah, but even by 80 standards, this was not a good property, which is why it didn't last long. So But it's
I don't understand this whole thing about bringing her into Joe. I mean,
yeah.
if you couldn't cut it in the 80s, I understand that nostalgia is just like this massive rose tinted glasses kind of a thing, but I don't know. I think it's just the fact that people are starved.
Yeah.
You know, and that, oh, hey, man, fatal fluffies. Oh, get out of here.
But the problem is like, especially with G.I. Joe, is like there's the when they relaunched the Joe versus Cobra line, you know, going forward all the way to Pursuit of Cobra. Yeah, we got like you got 50 more Snake Eyes and 1,000 more Dukes of Cobra Commander, but they came up with some like new characters that, I think they should link. That's for me, classifieds. That should be more about that, because you have the retro card. Retro card is give me Breaker how he looked like in the comics, but then give me Barrel Roll, give me Blackout, give me Bombshell in classified, and then throw in a Duke of the Snake Eyes. That's cool. You have to have
yeah. But I think part of the problem is that from a design element, coming up with something new and fresh is very hard for them. They don't want to go back to the well that made the stuff that made the original Joes, like 82, was looking back toward the Vietnam War, taking all those influences and then throwing a whole bunch of like future forward, very sci-fi leaning stuff with them, but not ridiculous. Like you had Flash, Breaker had like his cool updated, which is basically just like Peltors nowadays. I mean, it's just it hung here instead of over here. But why don't they go look at what's going on now? When Bobby was making, and this isn't a shameless plug, like everybody knows, when Bobby was saying, okay, I'm gonna make a medic, and he and I were talking about it, and I'm like, dude, do not do a fucking stretcher. And he's like, well, send me everything you can on the most current day, like medic gear. And I'm like, oh, some of this shit will blow you away, dude. Pardon my language. And so I told him, I said, you got to do a Skedco. Like that's the way to go. Like we don't use field litters. Like that's not a thing anymore. Like we carry Skedcos. Like we do Sked drags as PT. That's how we roll.
Yeah.
And so he went with the Skedco. As soon as everyone saw that figure reveal, they were like, this is how like a modern military medic should be. Duh.
Yeah.
But go look at like JTACs and things like that. Like look at all your tier 1 stuff and then put kind of your future forward, sort of spin on it. And they don't want to create stuff. But at the same time, dude, those focus groups, they're terrible. Everybody in the focus group, you get like 1 or 2 people that are like, can't you guys do something new? And then everybody else is like, no. It can't be new. It's got to be just like it was in 85 or 87. And, we don't want it if it's not like that. So I think focus groups are just dumb.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, like do Bomb Strike. They want to do Gem and the Holograms and let's do Lara Croft, which hey, Lara Croft's cool, whatever. But where's Bomb Strike? So
yeah. Well, but it's also too, I think it's the lack of storytelling.
Yep.
The reason why it appeals to us is we know the stories behind the characters. You had the file cards, you had the comics, and you had the cartoons. So there were stories already built into it. It's like I was. When they first started doing the classified, they put these symbols on the boxes, but there was nothing to tell you what they meant on it. And now, like I see everybody posting the file cards, I guess they're doing for the classified figures. I'm like, where is this at? You have to go online to find these things. Why are they not on the back of the box? That's what people are buying is otherwise you're only going to sell to me. And I've only got, there are 20, 25 years left. If I'm lucky,
they only want to sell to you, right? Because you and I have disposable income. That's what they want. They understand that it's a self-fulfilling situation. They price kids out of toys because they wanted to charge more and make less. They've been doing it for a long time. And then they're like, well, we're just going to lean into the adult collectors because they're the ones with the money and the nostalgia. So then they do engineered scarcity thing to make people want it more. You know, they lean into the psychological trappings of it. And
well, it's that enshrittification process. And I was trying to explain to folks the other day that, like I said, that they keep, when they launched that, we need to boycott them because now they finally went a bridge too far. And I'm kind of like going, dude, you're not the customer. The consumer is not the customer. The shareholder is the customer. And I said also too, surprise, you're probably a shareholder if you have a 401k and don't know it. So it's because that's that gets heavily invested in that stuff. So what do you want? Do you want a cheaper dolly, or do you want to have retirement at the end of the thing? And that's what they do is they move from providing value to extracting value out of you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, perfect way to say that. Yeah, they are extracting value out of the consumer. Exactly.
And then I look at stuff like when you're a company like Vala or Savage Crucible or Mythic, all that stuff, is they invest heavily in the story to decide, because they have to, make you want this stuff.
Yeah, they need it.
For a reason. Yeah.
Well, they don't have, 60 years of name recognition and things like that. With, like I said, it's the too big to fail mentality. Like, we'll just slap whatever on whatever, and they'll just, they'll be good little piggies and come up to the trough and oink, oink, oink. So.
Well, and that's like with that, that the whole Fury Force thing. It's like it's going to sell to the Hama suck ups, and the only reason why I'm going to buy it is because I think I'm going to buy a few of them because I want Cold War era figures, and I think like that Marine gunner is like that's I remember some in
the guy who used to be called Steeler.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm just going to have them because I like that Cold War era, that post-Vietnam, that middle ground era.
Yeah.
Was pretty cool and stuff like that. But it doesn't have broad appeal outside of, one select group and an even smaller niche like myself.
It's it's an interesting dance that they all do. That's for sure. But Hasbro needs these independent companies. They need the competition. They need to be kept on their toes, and they know it.
Yeah.
They know that they have it. They know that Fresh Monkey Fiction gives way better quality. I mean, granted, they're a lot more. I don't want to say a lot more, but they're more expensive, and it takes forever to get one figure. But they know that Valaverse just eats their lunch. So. So the fact that he did a figure called Ocular Serpent is just freaking awesome.
Well, I tell you, I'm glad that Vala has expanded the line to the point where I don't feel like I need everything that he puts out anymore.
Yeah,
like the World War II line really has zero appeal to me because, like I said, it's something that's, I mean, it's been. Back when I was in the 1/6 scale, I had a lot of that stuff.
Oh, sure.
I don't think there was really, if you would have put out, like I said, because I'm kind of partial to the Marine Corps, if you would do like a Pacific wave with like Marines and Japanese and Pacific Army and stuff like that, I think that would be pretty cool.
There are more waves for that plan too. So.
Yeah, but it looked good. Like the weapons pack, I'll probably get that because I like the weapons pack.
Yeah.
But when he showed that Rocketeer figure,
oh man,
that room, you could feel it. And I was sitting in front of Jordan, and Jordan kept like when we showed something, okay, that's what's going.
He was like, hey,
wait till
yeah.
It's just that Rocketeer figure. It's cool. And so I framed that jetpack blueprint.
Oh yeah.
When I
I gave mine to somebody at DFW. I guess they didn't get one or something. And I was like, oh, here, you can have mine. That's fine.
But like I said, it is the point where I don't feel the need to have every single, figures. And if I can say, and I've been doing that on a few things. Like I don't care about Jester and all that, and a few other things. That's but I
Look,
like it.
I can't dog on Jester because Jester is to Yojo Jerk what the Infantry Commando 2.0 is to me. They are not. They are absolutely not us. But like you can kind of bridge that gap. So So well, I can't dog on Jester for that. But other than that, I'm just like,
I don't have any problems with the figure. It just doesn't appeal to me.
And me either.
Is I feel like and I also have a weird thing about too, like I don't really care for figures that are based on real people. Like I'm not going to get the Honcho figure, even though I like Bobby and I like Articulated Ninja. I'm not going to get the Articulated name. It's just weird. Like I didn't get the Desert Rat figure. Sergeant Slaughter is a different story because he's a character.
Yeah. He's totally So.
But I just feel weird having dollies of real people. Making them do.
Yeah, like Mr. Remus is a real guy. Sergeant Slaughter is a complete character. I feel you there about characters based on real people and stuff like that. It's a little weird. It's even weirder when people have figures of you for nefarious purposes. That's even weirder. So.
That's always.
Ask me how I know.
It's with the state of things, which you talk about a lot of that, and it's just once it's out there, you don't have any control what somebody does with your likeness as a
I mean I have the Desert Rat figure. I have the 2 of the 118, and then the boxed one is right up here over by Voltron. But
I've got a couple of the 118 because I would do those warehouse bundle things, the mystery boxes, and they're like throwing them in there like packing peanuts at one point. It was
really.
Yeah, it's like everyone I got, I seem to have gotten the 3 3/4 inch Desert Rat figure.
I'm like, bro, just send all the excess ones to me.
I'll dig around and see what I got.
No, not you.
But I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool though. That figure was cool because it's based on the old Action Force. Was like I said, growing up, the only time I'd ever heard that there was a brand over in Europe that was using it was when they did the I think they did it in the digest versions of G.I. Joe, where they would like take a couple of issues and put in the small.
Yep.
Well, they would throw in the Action Force stories that they were doing over there.
Battle Action Force.
Yeah. I was like, okay, did we know that? They're doing it, but it made sense when you thought about it.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
So today you're talking about a little bit about the the Joe movie with Danny McBride. When I first heard the announcement of it, I was kind of skeptical too. Because I like Danny McBride. Like I've Righteous Gemstones, Eastbound Down, It's vice principals with him.
Yeah, I was just watching some of Vice Principals yesterday, where the principal pees all over the roof of the cop car.
Yeah. So I was kind of like skeptical. It's like, what's his comment? But when he laid out his idea, I was like, okay, and he kind of explained, where like he named characters. He didn't name of course he names the Snake Eyes, which everybody had a Snake Eyes as a kid, but then he named a couple of ones that people that aren't really fans wouldn't have named. That he still's got all these things and stuff like that, and it's like that's.
I think with a lot of people, as soon as he said Springfield,
yeah.
To frame a Joe movie,
100%.
And
that's always the problem with these things too. Is a lot of times these guys put together a movie and then it gets notes, and it becomes to the point that as a creative, how far do I push?
Yeah, I mean it's like a camel, right? It's a horse built by committee, and then once Lorenzo Di Bonaventura gets in the mix, frickin' forget it. But I have some faith that Skydance Paramount aren't going to let that stuff play out like it had previously. the people in charge, they don't play around anymore. And I love the fact that he's like, oh, it's like an espionage kind of mystery action. They stumble upon Springfield, and you could mine that for some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is you get these people and they're like, no, we don't want to do that. No, we don't want to do that. And it's just like, God, you suck.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I thought it was interesting that he was originally trying to pitch a Dreadnoughts movie.
Yep.
And I always kind of thought, because I had an idea that I think that would work better as like a television series. Kind of like
kind of like Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, and in my headcanon, opinion, I thought it'd be cool if you do it from the point of that he just arrives in Australia after the failed assassination attempt on Snake Eyes, and he joins the motorcycle gang. He starts, coming up in the ranks and taking it over, but you do flashbacks to the failed attempt, in Japan, where like he apprentices a Professor Onashi and he fails. Do that like in the backstories.
Yeah,
then at the end of it, Cobra Commander comes in to say, "Hey, you owe me." And so the second season they would move it to America and do like him meeting his brother and sister, but then do flashbacks to like a time in between, like a year jump in between, showing him like down in South America getting the procedures done on him, but also stealing that dictator's gold.
Yeah,
his brother and sister were trying.
Yeah, now see that would be super cool. Super cool.
So
and then just for an Easter egg, you got to throw in a gem of that size answers all my questions.
Yeah, so
you just got to chuck that in there.
but you keep the main focus of the story on the creation of the motorcycle gang, and him becoming Zartan basically. Then you do all the other stuff as flashbacks.
Yes, right.
And that's the thing. I think sometimes they push for movies for things. They make things that should be movie series and things that should be series movies.
Yeah, and to even expand on that, they could do that, which I think that's a freaking brilliant idea. And then you do a Joe show like The Unit. You got a specific core of Joes, and then everything else is dependent on the operating environment. And then you just bring in other actors to play your snow jobs, your Recondos, and all those characters, and then hey, maybe at some point they intersect.
Yeah, the Unit is a good. That was a really good show, and so there's a few channels I used to watch. I've kind of stopped watching, and the main reason why is I still like
Same.
people running it. I still like the people running it, but it was when they were doing the whenever Hasbro drops the reveals of the classifieds, and they get a picture of a figure and they admit they don't know anything about it, but then crap all over it. It's like, well, why would you have an environmental guy in G.I. Joe, and why is he wearing a yellow suit and all this stuff? And
we talking about airtight?
Yeah, and it's like if you knew anything about the character, some of the stuff makes sense, and if you knew anything about the military, so it's like these guys, they have access to people that know about this stuff.
Yeah,
it's like you're going to be bring on and explain it. So that was kind of triggering me.
And everybody has Seaburn people. Like, okay, whatever. They used to call them like NBC, but now it's Seaburn. Yeah.
And it's like, why would you have these people in a special mission? But if you look like the unit was basically like G.I. Joe, where you had your main operators.
Yeah.
Then they had all this support people that were still under the same non-disclosures and the whole. If you tell anybody, you get moved to a crappy duty station and it ruined your career.
Yeah.
Like you had the supply pogue had to be just as tight about security and not tell people that he was supporting these guys as Dirt Diver and
I can vouch for that, because when I was an instructor at the Sergeant's Major Academy on Fort Bliss, we would get students from everywhere, and a lot of them that we would get was from the 10th Special Forces Group at Fort Carson, and they're wearing the patch, right? Yeah. They're wearing that Special Forces patch. Yeah, they're a specialist. They're an E4. They're trying to get promoted to E5, but they're wearing a Special Forces patch. And those kids walked around like King shit on Turd Hill, and it's like, okay, look, you're a supply clerk. It's okay. Like we get it, but yeah, I mean, they were still super proud of it, and that's cool. I mean, that's good for them.
Well, there was that. I remember that, and I like that show because also how it dealt with the wives as well.
Yes,
and how the sergeant major's wife had to keep everybody, in line, and
that's what they do, right? Like the FRG, the Family Readiness Group.
And then the one episode where I can't remember the one of the guys' names. He was dating this girl, and her dad was like old school Army, and he was like, "You don't want to date this boy? He's in a logistics, company. He has no ambition. He doesn't want to." And then he went to go talk to Blaine.
He's a bag of ass.
Because he knew Blaine, and they kind of said, "No, you need to back off." And then all of a sudden, I'm treating him nice, and the daughter's like, "What happened? Why are you treating him so nice?" He's like, "Oh no, you're." It's like,
yeah, because that guy's a freaking. Oh, here you go.
Yeah.
Because that guy's a tier 1 freaking pipe hitter, right? And then he changes his tune real quick. Hi, Callie.
And I said that was probably one of the most realistic aspects of that show was the colonel keeps sending out his best operative so he could bang his wife while he was away.
You said that in my chat, didn't you? Did you say that in my chat?
Yeah.
My dog's like, damn, that's cruel. She wants to tell you. She said, "Look, don't say that. That's
she's a pretty dog.
Yeah, she's a gorgeous girl, man. She's gorgeous."
Yeah.
Can you hear her panting? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's right. But sorry, I really like that show. I think I got it. I might have it's on streaming somewhere. We watched it.
Where is it?
Yeah.
It's been a minute since I've watched it. But
yeah. It's been on, but
the unit's for
good show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why.
Plus, it's got that Billy Badass from the Allstate commercials. I always forget his name.
Yeah, Dennis Haysbert or something like that. He was
sure.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah,
and the T1000 doing what you just said.
Yeah. Well, I do say one of the things I'm not liking is the trend in movies because they're so, I don't know if they're doing it for a cost thing or they're so afraid of it, is them now when they have gunfights, they're CGIing the
muzzle flash.
Muzzle flash.
Oh,
so
man,
they're like ripping off rounds of a machine gun.
Okay, a lot of that was from the incident that happened here in New Mexico with Alec Baldwin.
Okay.
There's a right. You remember what I'm talking about?
Well, I started seeing so in talking about units. So there's the one scene where the sergeant major takes his daughter to the pistol range, and he's firing his pistol, and you can see the slide is going back and forth, and shells are ejecting, and then she starts firing her pistol, and it's just the muzzle flash. There's nothing going on.
Well, and I'm sure some of that is like cost cutting and things like that. But a lot of productions are now going to that because of, that incident with Alec Baldwin and the stunt coordinator and that person getting deleted, was a thing. And, I mean, you could argue it really all the way back to the loss of Brandon Lee, but I mean, just look at Star Wars. Look at what they were doing in like the sequel trilogy versus an Empire Strikes Back. Like those E11s actually fired blanks. Like there's a couple of quick shots where Lando's firing and you see the casings ejecting out of it.
Yeah.
So,
well, and again, and that's another thing where they start cheaping out on stuff. Like all the newer stuff, they're not even bothering a lot of times to modify the weapons to look sci-fi. It's like there's like one show I was watching. The lady's using an AK. It just doesn't have a magazine in it. It's like,
all right, then that's a bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, you're not a Tusken Raider. That's what you're using.
No, with the bolt thrower and stuff. No.
Yeah, it's just crazy, but it's one of those things that when I see stuff that irks me, I take a moment to actually ask myself, why does that irk me? Is it a legitimate gripe, or is it just something internally to me? And and I try to do that even when like dealing with Bronco had a question.
Oh, I was actually just typing a response.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it.
I think is that on Paramount? I think it's on Paramount Plus.
I haven't seen SEAL Team. I haven't seen Lioness. I still haven't even finished the new Jack Ryan that came out. I'm like halfway through it.
Oh. Yeah.
I suck at keeping up with all the, because I mean they literally just waterboard you with content these days. Yeah. It's too hard to keep up with everything. But dude, I'll put it on my list.
Yeah, I'm a big Tom Clancy fan, and I didn't like the Jack Ryan because of the changes they had to make, the changes they made to Admiral Greer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was
unnecessary
and uncalled for.
James Earl Jones, like that was Admiral Greer.
Yeah.
Even when that one actor who later became a senator who died.
Fred Thompson.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was like, Jim Greer vouches for him. Yeah. Oh yeah. Those movies. I didn't like Harrison Ford as Jack Ryan. Alec Baldwin. Okay. Even though I'm not the biggest Alec Baldwin fans for this reason, right?
Yeah.
The message and the agenda.
Yeah.
But I did Harrison Ford as Harrison Ford.
Well, like I said, he's at the point in his career where all he does is just play a version of himself. He doesn't play characters anymore.
Magna figure set, that.
The unnecessary.
Sorry, I'm choking on Rippets.
Yeah, if somebody comes up to me with a shotgun, and then they threaten me, and then they cock it, then it's like, oh, you didn't have anyone in there already.
And like all these shows and movies, they're like always they're always racking it, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you always racking stuff? It's like Spaceballs. Why are you always preparing? Just go.
Yeah.
That's the unceremonious defeating of Batman in the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game, and she's sitting there with a revolver, and she, domes Batman, and you hear clink, 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 clink on the ground. You're like, you need Sweet Baby Ink so badly to put all that girl boss DEI crap in there, but you could never catch the fact that she has a revolver ejecting brass, and oh man.
Well, you don't hire the advisor that will tell you that, because you got to hire the the on-set intimacy coach for the
you got to get Kim Belair to come in and tell you how you're a horrible person. It's like the Army's, well, not just the Army, the Department of Defense, right? When they were told they had to come up with a SHARP program, I'm not going to say what that means. If anybody knows what SHARP stands for, it's words that you don't say on a live stream. And they didn't really want to do it, right? And then the National Victims Advocacy group was like, oh, well, since you don't want to do it, we're going to build your SHARP program for you. And so you go into this, required, your mandatory annual training, and they sit there and they just berate you. Like, if you don't take this training, you're going to go out and you're going to be a predator. Like, you better sit here and listen. It's like, hold up a second. Like, why are you coming at us like that?
Well, so I remember, I was in when the tailhook incident happened.
Oh yeah.
Back in the 90s. And so we all had to go attend, and whoever came up with this name completely forgot about the military's tendency to make things into acronyms. So we had to attend the sexual harassment and insensitivity training. And that's what we were calling it. And you got a bunch of corporals and lance corporals and privates sitting in a room.
Time to go to shit.
Going, why are we getting yelled at for some drunk officers did at a hotel in Vegas? It's like,
yeah. But
we're not out here doing this stuff.
Rolls downhill, and that's how
it's that mentality too. That it's that, and I've talked about this too. Like I said, and I appreciate the nice thing you said about the video I did on why.
Oh, dude, it was so good, so good.
And a lot of it's because so I have a strong quality assurance background, so I believe in root cause analysis. And because I used to hate when we'd have somebody at a job on a job, and they're like, "This guy's not performing. We need to fire him." And I'd be like, "Well,
Why?
have you figured out
Yeah.
why?"
Mhm.
You know, I said the person's the last person you blame. You look at did we train them correctly? Maybe our process is stupid. You know, then if once you eliminate all that, then it's the idiot. Then you fire them.
Yeah.
And plus, you know, you know like I said, I used to work. You know, all these activists. You know, I used to actually, you know, I worked for an organization. It was a political organization, and for veterans issues. And so I've actually, you know, like gone to Congress and knocked on their door, walked the halls up there in all the buildings and talked to these guys about policy. And, you know, I've actually gone and knocked doors in neighborhoods to talk to people. So I make phone calls, and I know none of these people that come at you, you know, they just think, you know, putting an Instagram post with a, you know, picture of the Punisher, you know, doing something stupid.
I was just going to ask you,
It's activism.
did you show them photos of your dollies doing like
Yeah. No.
edgy things?
Yeah, so I actually had to learn how to talk to people, and still, even in my current job, there's times where I have to go talk to folks out in Tallahassee about stuff, or go to a local council meeting and stuff like that to get stuff done.
Sweet.
So I had to learn, and it was for a fairly conservative organization I worked for, and one of the first things we had to do is we had to go learn Alinsky, and we had to learn how, you know, the other side operated.
You talking about Saul Alinsky?
Yeah, Saul
Rules
Alinsky.
for Radicals?
Yeah. So it reminds me of that the scene in Patton, where he's in North Africa and he thinks he's fighting Rommel's army, but he didn't know Rommel had gone, and he's over there going, you know, Rommel, you son of,
Yeah.
I read your book. I read your book.
I read your book.
Well, so that's what I had to do. So that's why, because like I said, that was bugging me. It's the why, because like I said, a lot of these people they're just led by the nose, which is why they have that ring in it. All that. Every time I saw that, I was like, do you know what that's what you put in cattle, so you can put a hook and lead them where you wanted to go. So, but one thing I said in the chat mentioned. So, I was in DC shortly after AOC got elected, and she pulled that stunt with Pelosi, and I knew that she probably got pulled in there, and Pelosi said, "Listen, you don't, you're in my house now." So, but in their offices, they're not allowed. They're allowed to have stuff on their door.
I've seen some of the shit show stuff that they have all tchotchked all over their doors.
Yeah. So, but when walking down the hall, you immediately notice the door, because all on the door and the wall outside, all down the wall, was covered in sticky notes, little 3M sticky notes.
Yep.
And it was a mix of people, you know, and they have the little podium for like the guest book to sign in, and they have like stacks of sticky notes on there so you could write something. And it was a mix of, "Oh, you go, girl," or "This is awesome," or in the mix of, you know, "You're an idiot," and people would like leave pocket copies of the Constitution out there. So, and I'm like going, you know, she was like in her early 20s, and I was like, I don't care how grounded you are as a person, this much attention does something to your ego.
Big time.
You know, both good and all the hate and the fluff stuff does something to you. So Largo's got a good question. Why has the Punisher really become so popular with paramilitary and law enforcement groups? What do they think it represents? So this is like, Largo. So I know back in the 90s when the Punisher became really popular, for a lot of folks it was this idea that Frank Castle was doing something the law refused to do. You know, it was about the justice of it. You know, that was his thing. So that kind of resonated with a lot of people. I know in the military and law enforcement, even though, you know, but then later on, I don't understand, you know, especially in the military, how it became so prevalent, because that was, you know, kind of post GWAT, where that started becoming, you know, with the Chris Kyle stuff. And
yeah, Chris Kyle. But you know, you also got to remember that in the Punisher's history, like, he was a service member too, and all this stuff, and Yeah. So,
I think a lot of it was doing, it was wrapped around the idea of justice. Justice means our word. Sometimes the law, the law is not justice.
no,
the law is the law for a reason, which is why dirtbag can have all of its evidence thrown out because the cop didn't follow the right procedure, and that's
exactly.
there for the protection of everybody else, not just them. So it was about this idea of you meting out justice, that kind of thing. And then, but like I said, it was one of those things that, and I don't think so much it was the right that twisted that whole thing. It was just like the left seeing people embracing this idea that sometimes bad people need to be deleted. was what set them off. So
well, and that's the slippery slope of who's bad and who's not bad, especially when you have people that are, they show the kinds of, values, beliefs, behaviors, and norms that they exhibit and believe in. And they're supposed to be like the moral authority on who's bad and who's not.
Yeah.
I don't get down with that.
Well, and that was the other thing too. Like there's an economist, Thomas Sowell, and he did a book. It was called The Contest of Visions. Okay. And basically what he's doing, he says that basically what happens, we have a war of two visions of how society should work. We have one side that goes that man is inherently good. It's just our institutions that prevent him from being the best human that they can be. So if we just get control of the institutions and fix the institutions, then man can flourish. And the other vision is that man is deeply flawed. There are no such thing as perfect solutions. All you can hope for is the least amount of negative trade-offs as you can. So, you pass a law, you want the law to, every law is going to have some good and bad in it, and it's going to have some negative consequences. You just hope that there's more positive than the negative. And that's, right. You can't fix that. And the left tends to lead more into that if we just have control of the institutions, then man will, live in this utopia.
Yeah, it's this weird kind of bastardization of like neo-Marxism.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of The Shadow.
Yeah.
The Shadow knows. Look, I like that movie.
Yeah.
I like that movie. I think they did a good job, and I'm a big fan of Tim Curry. So,
well, and even too, I think that's to Argo's point, just often required to sacrifice of civility is one of the things I try to do in my line of work is I'm dealing with a lot of people that never served in the military, teaching them how you can help prevent suicide of veterans.
Yeah.
And so one of the first things I have to kind of explain to them this idea that it always seems to me that military services is that if you're a person that's already predispositioned to self-sacrifice, you kind of gravitate for that. Because like I said, if I laid out to you, this is what you're going to get paid at it. And if you went in for a job interview and say, well, this is what we're going to pay you. And these are the standards you're going to have to adhere to. And by the way, you're going to have to live in some of the crappiest places, and you're going to have to eat horrible food, and you really don't have any control over what you do and when you can do it. You would get up and walk out of that room. But a lot of us do that because we believe that, I think that we, and the culture is we sacrifice ourselves so that others can be successful.
Yeah. One of the first things that you give up is your freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people don't understand that.
So as one of the low men in my shop at the time, one of my dudes was, we had this old, it was one of those boards with the slots in it, and you put the little plastic letters in it, and you'd have the chain of command was in it. So when people swapped out, so one of my jobs was to update that when there was changes, and it was right after Bill Clinton was elected. So I go up there and I put the Honorable Mrs. Clinton, because the joke was that Hillary was actually the one running stuff. My gunnery sergeant chewed me out. He said, Collins, I don't like him, but you may not respect the man, but that's your commander in chief now. And he's
Callie.
Yeah.
She was standing on my armrest like she wants high fives. I'm sorry.
And at least the office demands the respect of it. And
you salute the rank, not the man. 100%.
So
it was the same thing when creepy Uncle Joe got elected. You got to update your chain of command photos and all that stuff, like in your buildings and whatnot, in your common areas and your receptions. And the funny thing is that my infantry brigade combat team was very slow to distribute those photos. I don't think we got one for like 6 months.
So
we just left DJT up there with his face.
That they don't understand though is that just because you don't like the guy in office doesn't mean in the military you could just not do stuff.
No, it's true.
You don't like the guy.
Yeah, that is true.
When they got wrapped around that whole, disobeying, you don't have to, you can refuse an unlawful order. And it's like, do you understand how that works though? It's like, the president doesn't directly give orders.
It's a 3-word term: general military authority. And a lot of people don't understand that. General military authority, as long as you are not doing anything wrong. You just got to Roger that and frickin', right face and go do your business.
That was also an early lesson I learned in my first command was the gunnery sergeant said that if any of my sergeants or staff sergeants tell you to do something you don't agree with, you need to come tell me. If they tell you to go jump in the lake, come tell me, but you better be wet when you get here. So it's like
yeah.
So
it's all just a weird thing, you gotta feel that stuff out. So yeah. I was always a big fan of empowering subordinate leaders. I brought my people up. I trained my people. They knew their left and their right limits. They knew how I operated and such, and I just put them to task.
Well, and that's what I was used to too. Is the mentoring up and down. That as I moved up, I was supposed to mentor those underneath me and people above, and then going, leaving that and going into corporate America where that doesn't happen. I asked the supervisor one day. I was like, "Who are you training to replace you?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, at some point, you're leaving at some point. You're either going to get fired or you'll be promoted or you'll quit or you'll die."
Yeah. Train your replacements. I used to always ask the rhetorical question. I would always ask, either when I was an instructor or, when I was a senior leader, I would always ask, what is our primary function as leaders of soldiers? And everybody would just have a glazed look. I'd be like, train your replacement. That's your primary job. Train your people up to replace you. You will get promoted. You're either going to get promoted out, you're going to get lateral to something else. There should always be upward mobility. Your first priority is to train your replacements. Always.
But also too, that's why I think too, there's such a big problem today. And as we experience it with, people pushing their agendas online, is that a lot of these people I look at, and I can tell you don't even take responsibility for yourself, let alone others. So
not even close.
So you don't, I can tell you're doing this because you're searching for something worthwhile to make you feel like you've done something.
Yeah. Again, because they're lacking. Yeah, they're lacking something.
Yeah. And then this whole thing about going after people and trying to destroy their lives because of something they said. I can't remember who it was, but they said one time that it was that he'd much rather face the Taliban again than a leftist on the internet. Because at least the Taliban, they're actively trying to kill you themselves, but the leftists, they want you to do it yourself. It's like
a lot of the stuff that's been going around lately, it's not great. And I'm going to talk about some of that this coming Sunday, but I have this feeling that, yeah, it's coming. So
yeah. Well, it's
yeah,
just like,
it's unfortunate that,
like I said, if somebody doesn't think the way I think, then that's okay. Live your life. I'm not going to try to starve you, bankrupt your family,
no.
drive you to.
Well, even just today, between my mandatory fun stream and hanging out with you,
Yeah.
I saw that Skydrow Walker had the number one usual suspect, Buffalo Bill, went to Skydrow Walker's Facebook page and found an old like company gathering photo, and there's kids in the photo, and frickin' boom, threw it out there on the internet and tried to dox him. And it's like, Jesus, you like, at some point people need to say enough is enough. And this whole, like, not only the rules for thee, not for me, but this, oh, I'm just going to bury my head in the sand. Oh, I'm just not going to look. I'm not going to look, I know that your history, right? And like,
yeah,
they didn't care when they went for them. They didn't care when they went for them.
Yeah.
They didn't care when they went for them. They only cared when they came for me, right? Yeah.
Well, it's like, so like that psychologist experiment where he asked his class, like, if you were in Germany during World War II, and would you have informed on Anne Frank and her family? And everybody raised their hand that says they wouldn't. And he's like, it's because you don't know what was going on then. Is that more than likely you would have done it? Everybody likes to be righteous in hindsight,
Yeah.
And that's why I strive so much to like I said, I've always been a history nerd, and not so much what happened, but why things happened the way they did. And and people, like I said, the internet's turned everybody into experts without experience. And because they Googled something, or or somebody told them that this would happen, and it's just kind of like, it's like, no. And it's like, and it's not like this shift to socialism. It's like, have you guys ever really talked to people that
no
underneath that?
No, because they all get indoctrinated by these enlightened college academics that are like, no, like true communism. Like everybody wants to argue like what's socialism, what's communism, whatever. It's all two sides of the same coin about like, we're just going to control the people. I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah.
And they just say like, oh, well, the true version of that has never been done. Like, don't look at Cuba or North Korea or the Soviet Union or on and on and on and on, Venezuela. Like, if we did it here in America, it would work. It's like,
once that I did that, if we just improve the institutions, then it'll work. And it's kind of like, it's like, no, it's been tried over and over again. That's the, the worst day under capitalism is better than the best day under socialism.
Well, and all these people sit around in their designer shoes with their iPhones and drinking their lattes, and they talk about how, I mean, first of all, capitalism is a construct that's made up by all those types anyway, that they don't like free market society. So they came up with like capitalism. They gave it a name, because like ist, phobe, ism, blah, 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 right? And then they have to frame it as bad. Then they have to like ruin our election system. So they want everyone to lose faith in our institutions. And again, just like you said, like, oh, well, if we were in control, we would be able to fix it. And it's funny, the people who are calling everyone a fascist or a this or a that, or making like the stupid little pictures of me that I have to see all the time. They're the ones that want to like silence everyone, control everything that's said or seen. This revisionist history crap. And it's like, that's funny. It's funny that you're all about those behaviors and those norms, yet you're the one that calls everybody else a fascist. But it's just the straw man argument, all of it. It's just like, none of those people have ever traveled the real world. They've never seen real oppression. They don't know what the rest of the world looks like. It all goes back to these like, I know better than you, but you've never left the United States.
when they get caught up in this idea that that the doctor and the ditch digger make the same amount, but they don't understand that you don't get to choose which one you get to be.
Nope.
You can be the smartest person in your class, and the central committee says, "No, we need ditch diggers." You're digging a ditch forever, or you may not have the brains to be one. They go, "Nope, we need doctors." Guess what?
Yeah, it's the same thing with the fourth wave feminism and like, oh yeah, like girl power and we don't need no man and all this stuff. It's like, okay, so go work construction. No.
Yeah.
Go work in sanitation. No. Go be an underwater welder. No. Go be a tanker. Go join the infantry. No.
Yeah.
And I don't have to sign up for selective services either. It's like, oh, okay. So again, you don't want equality, you want equity. You want to be in charge of stuff. You don't want to do the work to get there. Again, right? Yeah. Managers versus leaders and people, they want things like, give it to me. I don't want to do the work. I just want it.
Well, they did a survey of the DSA, their membership, and it's like 80% of members have like a higher level college degree, and only like 4% are blue collar workers.
I wonder why.
Like,
and they're all the ones that are saddled with like crushing student loan debt, and they all have degrees in like liberal arts or gender studies or something stupid that they can't use, and they have zero life skills. They have zero street smarts. Like they don't understand anything. They can't problem solve. Yeah, like I know so many like just salt of the earth hardened people where you can drop them anywhere and they're good to go, right? As long as you have like the 5 C's of survival or whatever, if you've got the means to like, navigate and orient yourself, like they'll be good to go. And all these soft ass people, like you couldn't even drop them in like middle of nowhere, Kansas without them like screaming for their cell phone and their mommy and stuff, like, and I'm not even talking about like in the middle of nowhere, Kenya, or God forbid, like Syria.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Well, not to, I know it's not like I'm bragging, but people are often shocked when they find out that I don't have a college degree or never attended college. And they're like, what? And I'm like, well, I read. Is I read a lot and I can reason. And I went to school back when they still taught that stuff. So it's
you can't teach life skills. You can't teach life skills. You have to experience life skills. You have to fail. You have to learn. You have to adapt. You have to overcome. It's funny how and their crew will call you every type of ist or foe, but yet they're the ones doxing people and going after the 100%.
Well, I tell folks all the time, like I said, that again, like I said, as I've noticed, there's how they do their stuff. It's like I have no fear from them because they get nothing. Attacking me gets them nothing. So, and that's what they're looking for. They're scalp hunters, is all they are. And I'm not.
Well,
I'm not a worthy target for it.
Yeah.
So, and then plus also when I live in Florida, so go ahead and try to come at me. And I've got a cabinet of stuff that may get lost in a boating accident one day, and you can't touch my job, so it's all, so I got nothing free to take, so therefore they ignore me. So,
well, the funny thing is that I don't know if you heard me saying, but Homeland Security, one of their headhunters reached out to me like to offer me a gig, and I was like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. So the ma'am and I are kind of sitting on that, but that'd be great. Go work for Homeland Security.
Yeah. Well, but it's good though that you're in the position too. It's why, like I said, they thought by getting you fired would wreck you, but it's like you said, you're just working just to have something to do during the day. And
I was bored being at home.
And now all that done is cause you to be on YouTube more with a great show every day. So it's kind of like
yeah. Bear 11 Charlie, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Jedi Ben says you can't teach driver motivation. No, you cannot.
No,
you can't instruct intestinal fortitude. You have to have it. You got to find it. So it's always the loudest people that have the most to compensate for.
Yeah.
And that's a very broad statement, but you could break that down Barney style if you chose to.
Well, my father taught me this a long time ago. He used to have, back in the early 80s, he had a clothing store in the mall.
Yep.
And he said he would always have these guys come into the store with their buddies wanting to complain about something and be all loud. And then he would say, well, hell, I said, come with me. And they would go to the corner of the store and get them alone. And he said their tone would change completely. He says, once you cut them away from their audience, then it's a completely different story. And the very few times on this platform that somebody's come at me, I said, hey, listen, this is something you can't have this conversation in the comments because it doesn't work well. I was like, reach out to me and we'll figure out a way to connect and we can sit down and talk about these things because I want to hear your ideas. I'll give you a fair listen. You give me mine. They never do because it's not going to be in a public arena.
Yeah.
For them to own me. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wouldn't like Chad as DHS agent. I'm against the Department of Homeland Security. When they first announced it, I said it sounds too close to the Committee for State Security.
It's
KBB, to me. So
we talk about good initiative, bad judgment, but the funny thing is talk about the delaminating that would occur if I worked for DHS because CBP is under DHS and ICE and et cetera, et cetera. It's like, so now I'm over here fucking,
And you never recognize how entitled some folks are. Like I used to tell my kids, when they say they're not hungry, but I say, well, eat this. They go, oh, I'm not. It's like, well, you're not hungry enough. You get to the point where you'll eat food you dropped on the ground because that's the only hot meal you're getting that day.
Hey, there is nothing wrong with floor spice. Okay. Nothing wrong with a little floor spice.
No.
It makes man out of you. But yeah, I mean, you hear all these horrible survival stories about people boiling shoe leather and stuff. And then you've got these kids like, but I don't want to eat green beans. Shut the
Yeah. Well, it's like, I knew people that came out of, post-Soviet Russia talking about, going down to the docks and diving and pulling barnacles off the dock pilings to make soup and, just all kinds of
well,
stuff.
The funny thing is, again, all these entitled, smarter than you people, they want to say how great socialism, communism, whatever you want to call it, give it a name, how great it is. But, nobody was ever going through demilitarized zones trying to get into those places.
Well, there's
a reason North Korea has freaking internet blackouts.
Yeah. Well, like somebody said, the greatest experiment was Berlin.
Yeah.
Literally, you have the city that was divided in half.
Well, it's just like Rafah, right? Rafah on the Sinai Peninsula. When Rafah was taken by Israel during the 6-day war, like they turned it into a beach resort. As soon as Egypt got it back, like it's a shithole. It's overran by sand dunes. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Berlin. My bad.
Yeah. No, but it's like literally you had, Berlin was surrounded by the Soviets because they have East Germany.
Yep.
And one half of the city was controlled by them. The other half was controlled by the West. So everything had to be shipped in.
Yeah.
They
the Berlin airlift.
Unfettered access to supplies, but the East, they couldn't, they said like the life expectancy between an East and West Berliner was like 3 years. And they eventually had to put up a wall, not to keep West Berliners from running to the warmth of socialism, but to keep but to keep the East Berliners from
the funny thing is you have to look at which direction the weapons in the towers were posting because they weren't pointing right toward the free side of Berlin. They were pointing at the people who were trying to get to the free side of Berlin.
People aren't getting on rafts in Haiti and floating to Cuba.
Yeah, you don't make rafts made out of trash to leave Florida and the Panhandle states to go to all those great countries down south. No,
it's like it's been done, and it doesn't matter. Like there's no, and a lot of these folks too. It's like some of the lifestyles you lead lead in a fully socialist country would not be allowed at all.
No, it's the same thing as like I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Queers for Palestine, exact same thing. It's wait, what? You're what? What? Okay. I mean, you want to talk about suicidal empathy? There it is.
Yeah, and just stuff like the idea when we talk about reproductive choice, it's like in a socialist society, if they decide that there's too many kids, you don't get a choice. Or
you get
if
one.
they decide we need more, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, it's especially in some of those types of cultures where they only want males.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Then,
it's shady.
Them not actually understanding what fascism is drives me nuts. They confuse authoritarianism and nationalism with that system. And
all those people have a problem when you say like, oh, I love my country, I believe in American exceptionalism. They're like, you're a fascist. Wait, what? Yeah.
I got the other day the Transformers, the Star Eagle.
Yeah.
Figure, because it was up on, and then today, I know everybody hates on it, but I wanted one. Is today they finally had the Duke, the 250th anniversary Duke figure. So I was like, nope, that's one in the collection. That's
look, I have the frickin' Super 7 Reaction Plus Team America versions. I have those. Jeffy got them for me. So yeah. Whatever it is, what it is. I think they're all retarded.
You've been all over the world. I've been a little bit, but I know I've talked to people from Cuba, people that escaped from the People's Paradise of Venezuela. I did that whole video about the guy Marco from Bosnia. I'm sorry, from Yugoslavia, and that was like probably the most chilling story I ever heard.
But they want to deflect that because it doesn't fit their narrative, right? All these people that you see on social media who are like, I came from Iran, I came from Cuba, I came from North Korea, I escaped all of that stuff, Yugoslavia, etc., Bosnia, like the ethnic cleansing. They got away from all that. They come to the greatest country in the history of the world and they love it. But you point that out, all those people, all they want is, they want the destruction of Western civilization. They're like, no. You can't listen to them. You can't listen. Oh, okay. Well, I wonder why, because it doesn't fit your freaking narrative. Yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not a fan of the Super 7 and the reaction figures. I mean, I'm glad they finally went to doing the Reaction Plus with the O-rings.
Yeah.
I just thought them doing that before, but I'm glad they're doing it. I'm glad it's sold enough to where they thought that we need to do more of these.
Their O-rings do sell well. They do. Even at the inflated price, they do sell well. The ones that don't sell well are like the Neon Force and Tiger Force Wild Bill, Tiger Force Snake. I was like, those ones don't sell well, but the comic Flash, that one was really hard to find.
Yeah.
Lunchbox, what's up, dude?
Oh, Lunchbox. Yeah.
Jedi Ben says he doesn't think the Reaction Plus are bad wall pieces. No, they're not.
No.
And that's the thing. You put them next to this. I mean, this is a Hasbro O-ring. They're good to go.
So I grew up on O-ring, but I prefer, and what I still collect, like I had a lot of Joes I wound up having to sell at some point. Them and all my Star Wars because I had a family to feed and things.
Sure.
So I've slowly been buying back stuff, but I mostly get like that 25th body style, because to me that was as a kid, I always wished that you could pose them more and that you could actually shoulder the rifles and stuff like that. So I'm kind of past the earning, but I like that they're doing those O-rings, and I like the at DFW that Lieutenant Zed figure. That is a great. I wish I had bought a bag.
Right there.
Yeah. But I like how you can take it off the card without destroying it.
Yes. And that's something that, like, Matt LaCroix, Strike Force Alpha, like he really pushed that, really pushed that. I know some others did as well, but Matt was like he was a big push for that.
Yeah. But I still kind of wish I'd picked up a bagged one. That would have been, so I could tool around with it on my desk without having to worry about losing stuff. So
yeah.
But it's good. Yeah, I like it. Well,
I think
go ahead.
There's more than enough to go around for everybody, and that's just Anyway, that was it. That's all I got.
Well, I think I've kind of run out of stuff. I do appreciate you coming on and talking, and chatting with me on my little show here.
Always.
I enjoyed your content. I'm all in. I'm always in the chat at some point.
Yeah, you are
doing stuff. So it's it's fun, but that's why I like that. That's why I like doing this. And I appreciate you watching my stuff and liking it.
I love what you do, man. I mean, I've said all my praises,
Yeah. Well, and I was kind of nervous doing that at first because I really wanted my channel to be more about fun stuff, which is why I did that as a subheading that I could be wrong, but I could be right. Because I'll even admit I don't know everything about everything, and that's a problem that those folks don't. They think they know everything, about it. So I could be.
I think that this whole era of 8 talking heads on screen looking at the same freaking MathX and whatever figures and stuff, like I think that's kind of I don't want to say ran its course, but if people would have kept all their divisive, polarizing crap out of these hobbies, then nobody else would have to speak up, in the converse, because if you just let those chronically online, loud, shitty people always have the voice, I just, at some point you got to stop turning the other cheek. And it all, like we talked about on my show, that once the Charlie Kirk thing happened, like that's really what that was the catalyst. And they go too far. They always go too far. Yeah. That's why Reagan left the Democrat Party. That's why Chuck Norris and so many others leave that party, because it's like you're too much. Like you're just too extreme all the time. Yeah. And once that mentality, that ideology gets into our hobbies, like it trashed gaming. Game studios are closing left and right. Like they're firing people, closing studios, like canceling projects. Comics have taken a massive hit from that too. Kelly Sue DeConnick, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Nobody did, and
then complained about nobody buying
the book. Working on Red Hood, the one who was working on Red Hood and was all laughing about Charlie Kirk, like she lost her job like that. It's the Gene Simmons approach. As much as I don't like Gene Simmons and I'm allowed to not like him, I at least appreciate the fact that he's like, just shut up and make your art or whatever. Nobody cares about your personal ideologies.
Yeah. Well, and he also knows it too. He's like, there was no other country on earth that he would have been able to do what he did. He did and become as wealthy as he did anywhere else in the world.
What's up, Jeff?
Costume singer, Jeff. I enjoy meeting Jeff. He's a great guy.
Jeff's freaking awesome, man. Yeah, he's totally awesome.
Yeah, I feel for your moderators, especially Jeff. That's
why. Why? Please expand on that. Why? Hey, speaking of which, you know what I'm doing right now? Yeah. I'm going to find one of my freaking longtime subscribers that apparently got timed out, and it's been like a week, so I'm trying to fix that.
Well, it's like I said, most of the time it's like when those idiots come in, and they're like that one idiot that no matter what the topic is, he wants to spout off on Valiverse. It's like we're not even talking about. We're talking about
but to me, that's part of the flavor. Yeah. You want to talk about floor spice? We got it. Like we got it in spades. And I mean, we'll be talking.
The host, that's part of the flavor, but these guys are working hard to kind of keep
Michael
everybody
made
from
Transformers, and this guy's like, but Bobby Vala's terrible. What?
Well, I'm glad he wasn't in my thing when I was talking about all the soundtracks and Josie and the Pussycats. But Val is a pussycat.
Oh God, yeah. Well, everybody wants to crap on Jem in G.I. Joe, but have you guys ever seen Bobby Vala? Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is I know I make an effort to try to, like I said, I'm I say smart aleck things.
I love
chat.
it.
At least I try to keep try to keep it on the topic that we're talking about, and not just trying to show up in your house to talk about what I want to talk about, and not
But see, that's kind of what I framed mandatory fun around. Is I want people to just be like, "Hey, can we talk about this? Yeah, dude, let's talk about it."
Well, there's off topic, and then there's off the map.
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah.
And,
but I mean, he feels comfortable he feels comfortable enough coming around to like my channel. I always try to be mindful of certain like buzzwords, like my audience and my base and things like, the people that like to hang around my channel for whatever reason they do, which I always appreciate, and say that stuff. And there are times where usually I let like Jeff or you guys be like, who the shit's talking about that? And every once in a while I'll throw it up and be like, bro, you are random. Like you're so random. Like half the time, like he's fine. And then the other half of the time he's just like, he's obnoxious as shit.
Yeah.
But
well,
you never know what you're going to get.
It's just that, coming in just completely on the topic that's nowhere near the topic. You're just like throwing something to be incendiary or it's like, or when people read something you put into a comment section or on Facebook or something like that, and then they make a comment that has nothing remotely to do because it's just what's in their brain at that time, and for some reason, it's just crazy. That's
Squirrel.
Yeah.
Jeff says that's what he always puts in the chat. Captain out of left field is showing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, whatever you're paying Jeff, you need to double it. That's all I'm saying. I'm fighting for you, Jeff. Fighting for the little guy.
Look, Jeff gets
the means
taken
of production,
care of.
Jeff. Seize the means of production, Jeff.
Jim Largo says authenticity is attractive. Sometimes it attracts nutballs.
Yeah. So, Winston, so I'm actually going to start. I do my live stream once a month, and occasionally I'm going to be doing another show, and it's with Winston, your Magna Figure Photo, Lucida Base, and Chris from Sister Arsenal. And because what we kind of figured out is we're all kind of around the same age, and we kind of figured out there's been a lot of lost knowledge of how things used to be in the toy space. And so we're going to be doing occasionally a show, and at the end of this month on the 31st, we're going to talk about the action figures, the 3 3/4 action figures between the release of Star Wars and when G.I. Joe was released. Because it was a wild time.
It was.
There's 3 3/4 figures before 77 and after G.I. Joe, but it was kind of like 77 was the point where it was established that this is now going to be the scale for action figures.
Bernie Loomis.
Yep. And then G.I. Joe was kind of like the ones that kind of like that was like the top level because nobody could compete against that because Star Wars petered out.
And most of that was Steve DeGuano too. Like Steve DeGuano was the guy at Hasbro, which a lot of people, they either don't know about Steve or they just kind of blow him off. But Steve was the guy who was like, yo, if we're bringing back Joe, like, look at what freaking Loomis and his people at Canon are doing. Let's do that. Yeah.
So
that was
we're going to talk about some of those lines in between. There was a Love Boat line figures, 3 3/4 figures.
Adventure People was obviously the big obvious one. Yeah.
And we were having a meeting. We were kind of looking at stuff, and we were kind of curious, like, well, when did like the O-rings begin? And I looked up something, and Hasbro was claiming they did the O-ring. And it's like, and then we looked like Microman in Japan was doing it. Yeah. Before. Yeah.
So, So you had Miku Gamen. Yeah. You had Microman, and then you also had Mego too.
Yeah.
Because it was Mego chips that the Hasbro guys, tchotchkeyed into G.I. Joe.
Yeah. But then it was like the Wild West of those days where they were just like trying to find every single property, they could, Chips, Love Boat, Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers, and, all these, everything was being trying to be made into a property in that scale.
Oh yeah.
So that's what
Clash of the Titans and Buck Rogers and Tron and
yeah,
man, they freaking went for it, boy.
Yeah, but they all, at the end of the day, they all fell to Star Wars, and then G.I. Joe killed everybody else. And then
the 80s had the big five. You got Star Wars, Joe, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, and He-Man. Like those were like the big five of the 80s.
So
everything else was.
I don't know how often we'll do that. Just I guess because we're all busy and trying to coordinate things. That's kind of like why this year I went to alternating guests and just me talking about topics, because it's really hard to get guests to, especially because it's so busy. Everybody's always busy everywhere. At least all the people I want to talk to, have a conversation with.
Except for me. Is that what you're saying? Except for me, because I'm not busy.
Well, no, here's the thing, Chad, and you probably don't remember this, is that back in October, which is my last show of the year, you were supposed to be my guest. But we were going to talk about we were going to share our top 10 Joes from the post, from the Joe versus Cobra to Pursuit of Cobra that should be made into figures.
And what did I do?
There was some stuff going on. You had some stuff going on. Completely. You can go back through our chats on Instagram if you saved any of them there. But you had some things going on at that time. So you're not as easy to pin down as.
Hey, everybody. I screwed Headcanon over.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying I was like worried, dude. I was like,
oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So.
Look, when we, I didn't show you, huh? I didn't show you.
No. Mm.
When we end and we're backstage, I'll show you the picture.
Okay. Yeah. So, but like I said, I completely understood. That's why I said this one that chat shows up for real. So this is before you got taken down a few pegs on the internet, and and now you're slumming with me. So it's all.
Oh, shut up! Shut up! I gained all that shit back, man.
Yeah.
No, that's cool that you guys are going to do. Magnet. Look, I can't say it. I know. Sorry, I can't.
Well, I never prying somebody, but in my line of work though, I'm I kind of when somebody had, I kind of worry. And so
there's not a lot of people that knows much about like my family and what goes on and careers and such, and we're keeping it that way now, right? Especially like you see what the fucking pardon my language, you see what the freakazoids are doing, right?
So Chad, like I've run a few experiments on this, and I really don't think I start tripping YouTube logarithms until I hit a certain subscriber base and watch hours, because I've done some things on here that most channels are getting blasted for by YouTube. So
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about I posted on my community tab that I would be on here, so there's probably a good chance that certain people are lurking. So if I say some things, right, they'll take advantage of that.
There's only 12 people watching, so nobody's lurking.
Yeah, you never know. The other thing is, did you see when Dewdog was on my channel and he lifted up that rifle?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, dude, no, I'm gonna get. Oh God, I was freaked out by that.
See, but I firmly believe I could do that and nothing's going to happen because I'm flying underneath the algorithm.
You think so? You think so?
I think.
You want to test it?
You see that happen to people once they hit.
You want to test it?
You want to test it? Let's test it.
Okay. You know what? I'll be right back.
I can burn this whole thing down. It doesn't.
Stare at Odie for a second. Stare at Odie.
Hey, Odie. Chad leaves the room. If this happens, and guys, if this happens, and I get a if it works, I get disconnected, then that's the end of the show. If not, then we'll end the show my traditional way here in a few minutes. So
I'm coming back.
yeah. Thanks. And if any of you guys, and any of you that's watching or will watch on the replay, if you haven't subscribed, please give me a subscribe. I don't care. I say I don't care about it, but I do kind of care a little bit. So I just want everybody to say if this actually happens and we get shut down, that's how we're going to end the show. If not, then I'll just end it my usual way. So
okay, we're gonna see, and if it happens, I'm going to apologize to you. But you said let's test it out.
No,
do you guys remember?
It's okay. I have a theory.
Okay.
That they only come after channels when they hit a certain size.
Do you guys? He's going to walk back in a banana hammock. Like you don't want that evil, Ricky Bobby. Do you guys remember the dude at the Chick-fil-A who stopped that shooter?
Yeah.
You know the funny thing is.
Yep.
That's it right there.
That's it.
Ported, threaded 5.7.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen this, but
yeah,
these are subsonic rounds.
Oh yeah.
So it's almost like a rifle round.
Well, you have the threaded barrel on it, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. That it's really effective if you use the subsonics in it. It's a trade-off. So that's the FN7. Yeah.
5.7.
And I'm still up and running. So
yeah,
so that's
that's it right there. I mean, it's not so much of an EDC because it's it's longer.
Oh, yeah.
It's ported. It's for a suppressor, but this is a great piece right there.
Yeah. Well, for years I carried a G19 because it was and then when they came out with the 19X,
I'm listening. Keep talking.
I got the 19X because I liked that one because it had the the compact slide like a 19, but it had the full grip of the 17, which means I could carry more freedom seeds in it with it. Yeah, I'm still up and running. I'm watching my
freedom seeds. You say now? See that's my everyday carry.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that's nice.
Yeah, that's just a ported 9mm, but yeah, that's my that's my everyday right there. So
well, thank you for helping me test that, because like I said, I'm still up and running. They haven't taken me down. Maybe in a week or so when the bots roll through things, they may do something. But so Chad,
yes,
thanks for being here. So one of the things I do at the end of the show, if you ever watch to the end, is I like to leave the audience with something to think about. And so one of the things is, again, I'm a big history buff.
Mm-hmm.
And what a lot of people don't know is, back when the poster child for socialism, Che Guevara, finally, Fidel had enough of him and kicked him out of Cuba and sent him over to South America to spread the warmth of socialism to South America. He was eventually captured in Bolivia. And when they captured him, he reportedly said, "Do not kill me. I'm Che Guevara. I'm worth a lot of money to you and to Fidel." So basically, the point, something to think about is that, every socialist, when push comes to shove, is actually a capitalist. So, a little
look at Hassan Piker.
Yeah. So also too, like I said, and one of the things, like I said, when Magna Figure, I got sidetracked when he talked about, when you take your meds and water and all that, is I haven't figured out how to do the asset stuff yet.
Really?
Yeah. I just don't. I know it's probably simple. I just don't have the bandwidth to figure it. But that's why I do that little intro thing, and I don't do outros. So simply, all I do is I end the show by pressing a button. Is all I do. So
like
Chad,
this.
thank you for being here. Yeah. I want to press the button, guys. Have a good night.